Gatotkaca is one of the most talked about roamers in MLBB. Despite falling off his prime, he still remains a reliable pick that introduces a fresh playstyle to the roaming table. Peeling. Not all roamers are about flashy sets or pickoffs. In this video, we'll take you through the micro and macro decisions that I made and explain the correct way to play Gatotkaca that pros don't want you to know. Let's go. So now let's talk about Gatot's build. So if you look at his build, since he's a roamer, he's a tank, right? So his build isn't really fixed, it's more versatile, but this is just his general template that you want to go for. So for Blessing, you want to take Conceal because it just provides so much movement speed up, it provides disengage and engage potential, especially if you want to charge it with your taunt. You want to take Tough Boots because of the CC resistance that it gives you. Chastise Pauldron is situational because if you're not against something like a support roamer or like a fighter sustain, XP, you don't need to build Dormice first. If you're not against someone like a Jusin, Harith, Joy kind of lineup with a lot of magic damage, you don't have to rush Radiant first, so Chastise is always a good first item for him to start with. Because for dive heroes like him, he can just heal up so much in the early game, and he can just provide so much more sustain and be in the front line for much longer. Now afterwards, it's really just situational depending on your build. You can really go for anything here, just don't go for the mistake of going for the Thunderbelt build because that's very old fashioned, and this will just allow his farm to become much slower and you can tank much less with Thunderbelt. So going on to the emblems, you kind of just want to stick to the default tank emblem that gives you HP, hybrid defense as well as HP regen. We're taking vitality for extra HP, tenacity for extra defense at low HP. This is especially useful if you are going for invade type of strategies, if you are going for early skirmishes. This can really help you survive longer and get more EBA in to maybe pop your revitalize a bit more or just heal off more in general. Now Concussive Blast is just a general emblem that you go for tanks, provides huge AoE damage, and does a decent amount of utility as well. Now for Battle Spell, you mostly want to go for Revitalize, unless they have more than one ADC. For example, Double Marksman, you can maybe consider something like a Vengeance, but mostly Revitalize will be good for you. So that will be it for the emblem setup. Now we'll move on to the actual gameplay. Okay, now we're going into the actual gameplay, but as you can see, yes, it's still a gameplay review, it's a post-game review, but this time we're doing things a bit different, right? So let me just pause to show you what exactly we're gonna do here. So as you can see, I have the recorded video of the clip of the whole game here, but you can actually pause the video now. So if I want to highlight a specific play or some specific mistakes that I made, I can just pause, rewind, and skip to whichever timestamp that I like. So that's just really convenient, and let's get back into the video. Now, this is a Gatot tutorial. As you can see, my roaming rotation isn't really perfect, but we did go and check blue side. Now, why we went to check blue side is because turtle side spawns on bot lane, which means most junglers typically start from blue because the enemy jungler can't counter invade and farm when they're trying to get the turtle, right? So it kind of gives you the extra insurance and lets you be a bit safer on the first turtle. But as you can see, this time the jungler didn't go to blue, so we kind of just deal with it, yeah. Okay, and I also like to mention that this video is also, yes, is requested by one of my viewers, and if you want me to make any specific videos for any heroes or any rotations or anything about ML in general, do just drop a comment in any of my videos and I'll make sure to see them. So as you can see here, we chased the Cyclops over to the blue buff side. We actually did a very decent poke, but because I didn't see that the Kaja was invading our Amon, as you can see later, the Amon's buff actually got taken. You can see that the Kaja actually ended up with the Amon's red buff over here. And yeah, that isn't really good, and that should have been on me because I should have helped him. But if you rewind at the scenario as we were zoning out the Cyclops over here, Sicilian was fully free to go and help Amon, right? Because I really didn't expect him to lose. Instead, Sicilian came over to Cyclops a bit, hesitated for a bit, and then went down to the Kaja, although he was visible on the map. So I guess if Sicilian went down earlier, you could have avoided this situation entirely, but it is how it is, and we go on with the video. Now you can see after Kaja takes Amon's red, we try and punish him over here. We don't end up killing him, he ends up expending a flicker. So a flicker for an Amon's red buff isn't really the best trade, but at least you force it out. Here I'm just helping my mate clear the wave, and I see that Parista comes over, so we get a bit more aggressive. And We're just trying to maintain position right now. You can see that there's only like 45 seconds to the next turtle. Yeah, I'm still only level 2. Like I said, my main role is in roam, so please do excuse me if my rotations aren't the cleanest. Now I do check the blue here again because I do know that Fredrin is gonna come here eventually. And I check again on the Cyclops to grant that extra vision. And Kaja goes onto our Amon for a second time, but fortunately for us, he was able to handle it this time, right? Now if the Kaja got the blue buff there, it would be really unfortunate. And also just to mention, wait, let's go back to the build here. I think I showed my build somewhere here. Yeah, do not take this build by the way. The Thunderbelt build is very old fashioned. It's very 2025. So I'll be adjusting my build mean like throughout the game. So don't use this build as a reference. But like I said, I should appeal for our Amon more, and that is actually the whole point of this video, right? We were kind of just getting warmed up to this roam playstyle, and we were kind of just getting warmed up to the game in general. But from here on out, you can really just see how much I use the Gatot to the best of his capabilities. Because like I said, Gatot is one of my favorite Pokémon as well. Now here Sicilian lands a very good clause, and you can see that we instantly don't hesitate, okay? I was thinking whether to taunt it towards our Sicilian for him to hit, but after thinking about it, our Sicilian might die, so I just taunted the other direction. Watch this, I taunted the other direction, they all came towards me, and although I taken a lot of damage and I do go down here, I managed to peel a lot for the team. Now I stalled about a whole 3 to 5 seconds. Throughout that 3 to 5 seconds, our Sicilian was safe, our Teresa was safe. Now what happened afterwards was very unfortunate because they didn't back out in time, so they got flickered into. Everyone just basically died. I'm not sure if Amon really cleans up here. Okay, Amon does get 1 kill, and we immediately go over to help the situation, right? We have our taunt, so we hold it up and allow Amon to kill our Kaja. Fredrin has the bomb, so we just revitalize up our Amon. And you can see that we are trying very hard to get a glue here, but the team doesn't look like they know how to play against glue that well. So we just go again onto the Fredrin. Now he ice retreat, if not I think we would have been able to kill him. So now we just divert targets, and you can see that as a Gatot, your utility is just so diverse. Here, let me just rewind a bit. Here, if I actually hit my taunt onto a Cyclops, I could have actually killed him. But I was a bit, well, I thought the initial taunt was enough, but I guess it didn't really travel the distance. But at least we still forced a flicker out. Now, you can see that although the early game wasn't the best for us, we did lose the turtle, we did die a few times. But because our utility as the Gatot is so strong, our taunt saved us like 2-3 times. As well as how the team was able to play together. And yes, this is solo rank by the way. I feel like Gatot is such a great hero in solo rank because your taunt is basically like the best part of your kit, right? And the taunt is so good in a way where you don't have to rely on your team a lot for it to function, right? It's still good regardless, it still provides that utility. And really this whole video is just to show you how you can play Gatot in solo rank, in duo queue, in trio queue and everything, right? Now here I noticed the Fredrin was walking towards our Amon, so I just walk up to him. Now I'm the roamer, so I have to open space, right? But you don't open space wastefully, right? You open it meaningfully. So here we go up and we go rightfully into the Fredrin. We soak up some damage and we see the Kaja coming over, so we just attract more attention towards ourselves. I'm not sure what Amon wanted to do here because clearly we couldn't burst them down. You can see that Sicilian was occupied with Cyclops as well, so we kind of want to just divert everyone's attention. So the Cyclops does end up coming over here, and then we make a crazy out of the way, okay? As a Gatot, this is one of the most frequent plays that you must find yourself doing, right? You have to soak up all the damage as you can see here. Here we soaked up every single bit of damage. We wasted so much of their time, so much of their resources. Fredrin comes up, Cyclops rotates, Kaja rotates, and then we just get out of a safety net for our ultimate. Now the outcome really wasn't as intended because our carry still went in and fed them the kill, but that is beyond our control. Now genuinely as a roamer, what you really want to do is peel like that for your team because such plays are really valuable. It buys them so much time to do things on other parts of the map, and yes, although it's not that prominent in solo kill because in solo kill most players don't know what they're doing, but in a full 5-man you can really see the use. Now, another thing that I want to mention here is how to use the taunt, right? Most players use the taunt as a dash tool to engage onto the enemy. But what I want you to try is try using the taunt right on top of your target that you want to taunt and then dash backwards. So what this does is it forces the target to come towards you, closer to your team, and easier for them to pick off. Now if you see there, okay, Sicilian technically immobilize him, but if I dash towards this direction into their tower, I'm actually leading him away to safety and putting myself in danger because he's further away from my team, right? And I can't escape as easily, I don't have the ultimate. So instead here, we go right on top of the guy, we make sure that we're standing on top of him when our taunt lands, and when we are right on top of him, we just taunt him backwards, and it's a free kill board. Now these micro interactions are very important as a Gatotkaca, because not only does it change the outcome of a fight, it also helps you peel for your team a lot better. Now there's a few decisions I made at this turtle that I'm not really happy with, but I'll just talk you through all of them. You can see that over there, firstly I taunted the glue, right? You can see that here. Here I taunted the glue. So why I taunted the glue was because number one, I thought the Fredrin would come as well, so I can hit a double taunt. During that duration, my team can secure a turtle. But number two, my priority here was actually the glue, because I was afraid that he was able to land some combos on my jungler, and that would be worse for them. However, it was kind of in my hindsight not to go for the jungler, because instead of the backwards taunt here, I should have led them away from my team, right? I'm just gonna replay the clip again, and then I'll show you what I should have done, and what difference were made. Here, instead of holding it backwards this way, I should have taunted further. Now if I taunted in this direction to the right of the glue, I can hit both the glue as well as the Fredrin. I can taunt both of them and keep them preoccupied with me over here. Now when they're over here, my team could secure the turtle, but unfortunately we didn't do that, so that was kind of on us. Now here we're just soaking all the damage possible. I'm trying not to attack the target that glue is on to not kill him. Now here we really wanted the out in to engage because everyone was here, but seeing that the Terisla died and the carry isn't here, we just outed away. So 5 minutes in, we already used 2 of our ultimates. The only 2 ultimates we used were to disengage, and it's very strong because you can still peel for your team during that duration and still safely escape to safety. Now the clouds here are also very useful too, because without the clouds we wouldn't be able to rotate over to the buff they're invading, right? Here we hold a taunt, we go onto the Fredrin, and then Teresa lands a nice ultimate. Now Fredrin still ends up getting the red, but we still go out with an all-out skirmish over here. You can see that glue is really annoying to deal with as a Gatot, but I feel like Gato also has a very good matchup against glue, right? And I'll show it more to you later, but we'll just play the video for now. Now at this point of the video, I just want to mention that Gato isn't nearly as good as where he was before. He still cannot compare to his prime back when he was with the Badang, Kalia and the Hylos. Here we see that they're going onto the Cyclops, so we instantly land an out and a precautionary taunt just in case he doesn't get he manages to escape. And here you can see, okay, this conceal timing is immaculate, okay. It might seem like a very small detail to you, however I can assure you that it actually changed the outcome of this fight. If you conceal too early, you lose the movement speed bonus. If you conceal too late, your enemies are managed to spot you. So we conceal right when we're around this bush, right? You can see that just like as we're about to pass this bush, this wall over here, we conceal. Now I suspected that the Mia was taking the gold crab, so right before I reach the gold crab I conceal. By the time the Mia notices her, she pops her out and I don't immediately taunt. Why? Is because I wanted to wait for her out to expire. So I telegraphed a path that I think she would go, and boom! We hit the taunt right on top of her. That was such a great prediction by us. And stuff like this, these kind of micro interactions with the taunt that I mentioned, that really changes up your room gameplay. So it seems like very small details, but when they all combine together, it really ends up winning the game for your team. Now back to my point about Gato not being in his prime anymore. I feel like he still isn't as good back in the days where he can build the Thunderbelt, where he was matched to the likes of a Badang and all that, but he's still a very great roamer right now. And let's talk a bit about itemization, right? So I prioritized the Meridian armor first because of their heavy magic damage coming from the glue, as well as the Cyclops, as well as the Kaja. So here I tried to out, because I saw that the Teresa outed, we ended up getting all 3 of them, and then we continue fighting because I know I have to revitalize. Now Gato sustain against these heroes, right? You see that once we take Cyclops out of the equation, and because the Mia is in this fight, right, your gold laner shouldn't be joining fights this early because they have no farm, they have no damage yet. You can see that at this point we're against 3 sustained heroes. We have the Kaja, we have the Glue, as well as the Fredrin. And you can see that as a Gato, you can constantly keep proccing, your what's that? You can constantly keep proccing your enhanced basic attack to heal you, right? Because it's just so immaculate, you can just continuously heal and heal and heal and keep brawling it out with them. Now here is a very crucial interaction, right? We hit a very crucial taunt onto the Glue here. You can see here. You can see that he gets the sticky marks onto this guy as well as this guy, so we immediately hit him with the taunt. Now I thought that this taunt duration was enough, because all 5 members of the team are here. I thought we could burst him down, that's why I didn't hold it for longer. If I waited longer and didn't release the taunt immediately, he could have attached onto someone immediately and that would have been worse, right? So that's just my thought process. But in the end, he still managed to link onto someone, and because my team isn't really bright, they end up killing the carry. Now I'd like to also mention that the ADC, aka the gold laner, the carry in this game wasn't really bright as well. Like, especially not bright, by the way. So this is really how to show you how to roam and how to like play the game, even if your carry rolls aren't that good, right? You can see that right now she has thrown herself in so many times and she's died so unnecessarily, although all the time we were there to peel for her and basically grant her safety, right? Now here we kind of messed up the build because we are still going to the default build. This is kind of me. But I kind of go with the Dominance Eyes after seeing the Fredrin as well as the Mia, right? So here we're just really attracting everyone's attention again. We're wasting their time. Look here, we already wasted a lot of the Fredrin's time. We wasted the taunt, we wasted the Mia's time, and she's getting chunk low as well, by the way, mind you. Wasted another taunt, and even the Kaja rotates over, the Cyclops rotates over, and the moment I see the Cyclops out, I out away because I know that I've achieved my goal. I've wasted enough resources, and now my ult can finally be valuable. So this is the 3rd time I'm using my ult to disengage, and it's one of the 2 uses of a Gato ult that I'll be using. When we get to the 2nd one, I'll talk more about it, and why you find that sometimes your Gato ult doesn't really seem to land, or you feel like your Gato ult is kind of weak in certain scenarios. Now you can see that although our early game isn't the best, we are still at around level 8 to level 9 by the 9th minute. So usually in rank, your the timing indicator indicates what level you should be at as a roamer. For jungle it's +2, like about +2 levels, for the rest it's about +1. But as a roamer, if you're about the 9th minute and you reach level 9 or like level 10, it's quite good. But if you are behind and like by the 10th minute you are like level 7 or 8, then you know that you are behind. Now I know that the Mia was here somewhere, so we just walk up to her. We honestly don't have to fear her because we do have the taunt. We see that she used the, you see, the moment her ult finishes, we land the taunt. Because after that, she's vulnerable for a whole 1.5 seconds, she's forced to attack me, she charges up my EDA, and I just stole so much time for our carry as well as our Teresa to rotate over. So it's really these micro interactions that change so much in the game, and it's what you should take note in your own games as well. Now we are just slowly just clearing up the lanes because there are some turrets that haven't been pushed, right? You can see that 10 minutes in, this top turret is healthy, the mid turret is also healthy, and the bot turret is starting to crack, but it is still standing. Now this is not a very good benchmark, and obviously as a roamer we can't really push turrets. We can only provide space for our randoms and encourage them to push turrets, but ultimately the choice is theirs, and thankfully this carry did grow some brain cells and I was able to peel for her while she pushed this turret. Now you don't always have to use the taunt, because once you use the taunt it goes on a 10-second cooldown. I want to get a carry out because I already see that they're coming. So thankfully we got out of the conceal. Now back to my point about not always wanting to use the taunt. If you don't use the taunt, it goes on about 3 to 5 seconds cooldown depending on how far you are in the game. So not using your taunt and saving it, or like cancelling it after like you initially charge it, is actually most of the time the better choice, unless you really need it to escape or use it as a mobility tool. Now here we instantly taunt to the Kaja because we see him as a threat to our team over here, and it actually ends up in a pretty messy fight. Now here I ulted in because I see that the Tharista ulted. I did manage to catch everyone, but I don't really know what our damage dealers were doing. Actually, now looking back at this clip, I know why. Here when I ulted, I failed to account for something, right? You can see that when I wanted to charge the ult, the glue was already here waiting for our carry and as well as waiting for our Sicilian, right? The moment I ult in, it separates them, right? Because the Mia is able to free hit from the left and the glue is able to free hit from the right. So props to our enemies for being able to set up this flank angle, but I should have ulted. I should have just peeled for either of them. I could have held my ult in front of the glue or the Mia. I didn't need to full up on the Tharista, but this is all just post-game analysis. You can see that glue immediately went onto our teammate. Our Mia is also shredding our front line. Sorry, their Mia is also shredding our front line, so we end up basically getting wiped out here. Now I'm not quite sure what the aimer wanted to do here, but after this, they actually wipe us out and take the Lord. So at this point in the game, I've seen that we've taken like what, 2 turrets and they have the Lord. It's pretty much like almost game secure for them. However, they make a few blunders and so we capitalize on it, and you'll see in just a few minutes, right? So Lord spawns like right now and we immediately take the cloud to try and peel for them, right? We immediately go to mid lane and try and peel for Tharista. He lands a very good ult and we taunt the Kaja just to make sure. Now the taunt is really as like a secondary tool because once you have that CC from the Tharista, I can easily land the taunt. Okay, let me explain my rationale here, okay? I really wanted to get a Cyclops and you can see it by the clip, by the way. The moment I ulted in, Cyclops just managed to recall like right in front of the turret, right? So that means if he did run back to the turret, he would have delayed about a second more and my ult would have connected and I would have killed him as a result. Now I thought that most normal people would run back to the turret to be safe, but I guess ranked players are just a bit different sometimes, if you know what I mean. So we end up ulting into the turret and yes, we out into our own death here because yes, we try and weave the glue a little, but his burn just keeps poking us and we are basically given no chance to heal or even escape. But at least we store as much time as we can, right? Any other hero you would have died immediately, but for Gato you can store for about 2 seconds more, and that was enough, right? Because as we were doing that, that seemed like a very bad play. But the moment we just attract all 3 of these members here, we attract the jungler, the roamer as well as the Cyclops here. Sorry, the XP laner as well as the Cyclops here. You can see that our team, 3 of them are already capitalizing on the Lord side, carry is clearing up the top side, and our mid lane minions were previously cleared as well. So all in all, although it was a bad play from us, we still managed to get value out of it because we didn't die. Well, our carry died somehow, maybe to a Mia probably, and we did lose the turret, but at least they didn't crack into our inhibitors, which is really strong for of course Lord defense. Now as a Gatot, like I said, the name of the game is really just to keep peeling. The more you can peel, the more space your teammates have, the safer that they will be. Now Gatot is a roamer that not all roamers can peel like him. Yes, all roamers can peel, but the abilities are very different, right? Not all roamers can peel as well as Gatot. So here I land another taunt. You can see that the backward taunt is actually very good because we put the Kaja into us. Here the glue actually ends up going on us, and let me show you a very good interaction with the glue, right? If glue out here as a Gatot, just out of the way. Now usually I'll be in the turret, that's why it seemed a bit close, but in the event that I was in the turret, he will immediately take turret damage, and yes, he does fly with me. So if the glue ever outs you when you're on Gatot, just make sure to out of the way, and he will be taken with you if he doesn't cancel his ult early. Now here we're really just opening up space for the team because immediately after a wipe, we aren't able to capitalize on much. I think we were able to take this mid turret. You can see that we're already building Chastise, right? Now if not for the fact that they won the early to mid game, as well as the fact that they have so much magic damage that I was forced to build Radiant, I would have rushed Chastise early, right? Chastise is a very good item for heroes like the Cho, heroes like the Lapo, and heroes like the Gatot. Because not only is it good against attack speed marksman, even if the enemy doesn't have heavy attack speed, you can still use it for the regen that it gives you. Now here we just fearlessly go onto all of them because we know that we wouldn't die. So I'm not quite sure what the Tharista was doing because he knew the Kaja had ultimate. Here I wanted to see if I needed to ult the peel for the Sicilian, but eventually Okay, here we out in just to secure the kill again. But we end up like killing ourselves because I didn't see that the Sicilian was able to take out the Mia. But again, with every other death that we had so far, we are able to stall for another 3 to 5 seconds before we eventually get taken down. So that's the beauty of the Gatotkaca, right? Because every time you're close to dying, you can just stall for a bit longer compared to other roamers, and that self-sustain you build in is very good. Now I know this aimer has been questionable, but this play is something I have to highlight. So let's just watch this, okay? I really thought he could do it, and when I doubted him, he did this. Oh my god! That was so clean. I don't even care if he died after that, because that was honestly all he had to do. Now the Lord spawned just in time as well, so Lord immediately marches down mid lane due to the wave at the 10 second, and now we instantly come back and take the cloud to mid, right? Because we see that everyone here is in mid lane, so we merely take the cloud, we go straight to mid lane, okay? Gato is so good at the flying cloud. Here we here we outed a bit far, right? Because I honestly expected them to go back a bit, maybe around this middle area between the like this river area. So honestly, I outed a bit far back, and that may have cost us this fight, but it eventually didn't because we managed to adapt quickly, right? So let me just show you how we adapted to this circumstance. We outed a bit far, but immediately we hold down the taunt and we taunt the Fredrin, right? We taunted the Fredrin because I thought we could kill him, but even if we didn't end up killing him, we cut some casualties and we continued the fight. Now here I see the glue again, before he's able to land the stick. You can see the second skill, he wanted to reach out and apply the sticky marks onto our team to allow him to out. You see the glue is here. The glue is here behind. He uses his first skill. He wants to use second skill. The moment I see the animation play, I taunt him, right? My target has been this glue for the longest time, because I really don't want him to go onto any of my team, and because we hit that taunt, we are able to cut some casualties. He isn't able to out onto anyone. I'm not quite sure what Teresa is doing. I just heal everyone back up, and we basically just lose single Teresa, and everyone's back to full health, right? So I'm telling you that the Gatotkaca is how you're supposed to play him. You can peel so well with this hero, you can open up so much space. And we are... Okay, we're gonna reach the highlight of the game soon, but I'm not gonna spoil it for you. You can see in the thumbnail maybe, but like, yeah, we'll just see how it plays out, yeah. Cyclops is extremely annoying, by the way. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Just look at how disgusting Cyclops outs me at 15:25, by the way. 15:25. Watch this, okay? He outs me again at 15:29. That is a 4-second cooldown for his out, because he's able to shoot so many projectiles. He's just so annoying, guys. I cannot deal with this Cyclops. Here we decide to recall because we're a bit low, and we see that a top wave is coming in as well. Now how we know that top wave is coming in is just minion timing, so you kind of get used to it over the course of the game. We try to open more space here, but in the meantime we spot out the Mia. You see the backwards taunt here. Now Mia, for these marksmen, they actually optimized it such that if you attack, you don't necessarily move. There's like a bit of a downtime. So for most other heroes, they would have walked towards you, but because it's a marksman and for someone like a Mia, they end up standing still. But at least I don't make her further away from the team, right? Now catching out this Mia is actually really important because you can see the rest of the team immediately capitalize on this. We instantly kill the Mia, okay? And that was the highlight play of the entire game, okay? I want you all to rewatch that and see what I did there, okay? There are two things that I did there, okay? Number one, as I was panning the map, you can see on the mini-map that glue was going on to carry. So you can see that I wasn't there to peel, and you can see that our Teresa is almost dead already. So obviously we were both too far to peel for the carry, so we kinda accepted that. So what we did was separate the fight with this line here, right? The fight was separated with this line. It was glue and carry on one side, and then it was the other four with the other four of the enemies on the other side. Sorry, the other three, since the Mia died, right? So by basically separating this line, Gato serves as a secondary engage. Because once the glue initiates on our carry, the rest of the team come back him up. The rest of the team come back him up because he's separated by my out, as well as the follow-up from our team. Number two, the other thing that I did here was you can see that as I was outing, you can actually channel and charge up the taunt. So what this does is that it increases the range, right? it actually doesn't increase the duration, which means I will still hit him at a 0.5 second taunt if I don't charge it at all, but it increases the range, right? It increases the range, and you can see that by the time I land down here, my range was so long, it was guaranteed to hit everyone even if they tried to escape. Now, out landing on everyone was just a cherry on top, but afterwards we follow up a taunt into a great Sicilian sanguine claws, and everything just fell in place afterwards. Now you can see that the chastise also put in the work here because we are basically back to full health by popping our regen and our revitalize, and we basically secured the game here, all at the cost of our carry. Now you can see that the carry death wasn't even surprising to us because we already established the fact that carry was gonna die, so our role as the roamer, and especially as a Gatotkaca, is to kind of separate the fight between the carry and the rest of the team. Now here I really tried to taunt the Fredrin, but he managed to cancel it, but nevertheless we still go onto him, we hit another taunt just to be safe, and although we sacrificed our life, it was for a good cause and we ended up taking the game. Now, that was an almost 30-minute video on like pure gameplay of Gatotkaca. I really hope that to the viewer that requested this video, this was what you really wanted, this was what you look forward to, and I hope that everyone watching this video, not just the viewer himself, has a better idea on how to operate this Gatotkaca and how to bring our games high in the future. So thank you so much for watching this video, we'll go on to the outro. If you enjoyed that video, do remember to give a like and subscribe and comment down below what your favorite part of this video is. Remember that this is Jarek, and I'm not just teaching you what works in ML, I'm teaching you why it works. See you next time.